What's good, people? It's your boy, Icarus Gray. And this is Gray Area Anime, the most wonderful podcast of your day. And we are back with another one. I said back with another one. Kirby says, hi. It is dangerous to go alone. So I choose each and every one of you to come along on this wonderful anime journey where we talk about anime, manga, and all things in between geekdom. Of course, we are back with more. Teach Me Senpai. We would have been back earlier last week, but we were having so many technical difficulties, and I quit. I quit that day. I was like, hey, listen, I'm done. I can't do this no more. Like, cause the internet was tripping, and I was just done. So we're back, like we never left. Gonna be on a very good schedule. I got a lot of episodes coming for you guys this week. We're gonna be talking Bleach later on this week, but today we're here to talk about the Yakuza's Guide to Babysitting, episode 6. And we had a lot of fun with this one, and you know what that means. I haven't introduced her yet because I was getting into the whole spiel about missing you guys, but you know that if I'm doing a Teach Me Senpai, majority of the time, Bible study girl, but known over here is just BSG, is back again with us.
So you changed me to BSG? I thought you called me Ree.
You can be Ree here. I don't know. I mean, is that what you want to be here?
I don't know. You usually call me Ree, so just wondering. I'll be whoever you want me to be, brother.
Who do you want to be here? Because I know who I am there. I'm BSB, but I'm also known as Icarus Gray. So.
Oh, you can call me BSG. It'll help for consistency's sake, I think.
Continuity.
Yes, and if you call me Ree, I mean, I know you're talking to me, and hopefully the folks do too by now.
Okay, so typically what we do with these Teach Me Senpai episodes is Ree, aka BSG, will give me her thoughts on the episode and ask me any questions that she has, and I use the best of my mastered ability in watching anime and everything to give her an answer on things that she may not know as a new or rookie anime watcher. I'm going to call her a rookie. She's no longer a noob. She's a rookie because she's watched, by this point, at least more than 10 episodes of anime. So I'm going to give her at least a rookie card. She's not a freshman yet, maybe elementary school, just somewhere.
I'm not even in elementary school, bro. I'm probably not even in pre-K. Like, you still picking me up and dropping me off in the nursery. That's my level.
Yeah. So ultimately, by the time I get her to a place, she'll probably, I guarantee I'll probably get her to a place where she'll watch stuff on her own, and I'll just think so? Oh yeah, I'll just have to like suggest that this is something that you should watch, and you'll go. I mean, you might not go seek it yourself though.
You know what? I probably will watch it on my own, but I would be breaking one of your cardinal rules if I would listen to it dubbed. And then
that's fine. It's not a cardinal rule for me. It's just
it is, bro. You are an elitist anime.
I am not. It is just a preference for me. I mean, I just, there's a certain essence to me. I do understand the time constraints that people have, and you don't be wanting to read, like, and if you're doing something, you want to be able to, you want to Americanize things.
I definitely, I think it's because I am a multitasker and I always have something on my plate. So for me to really, like, I have to sit down and like really like be focused, like be paying attention.
But for me, I think there are there are fewer occasions on the whole that dubbed voice actors take it as seriously or get the nuance of what's trying to be presented. A lot of times they just make it American people in doing Japanese things, which is going to sound weird because they're going to give American performances to things that don't need that. And there are times where it's good. I've been really deep into this game, Persona 5. And it's a Japanese made game, but it's dubbed. And I love the dub because all of the dubbed characters do a great job. Outside of the certain pronunciations of people's names and places, which is as American as can possibly be in terms of the way they deliver them. But overall, the voice actors are really good at what they do. So there are times where I do enjoy it. I did enjoy the Toonami run, as I've stated before, of a lot of different characters. Now, granted, majority of the characters that I love are all done by the same voice actor.
What is
So,
Toonami?
Cartoon Network used to run this anime thing, this anime like block, I guess is with TV block. And it would be after I got out of school at like 3:00 from 3 to the 6, 8 ish. It'd be like 4 or 5 animes that they would run.
Oh, so the block was called Toonami. So
Yeah.
Toonami is not a show.
No. Toonami is the
Okay.
block, and they would do after school, and there was a nighttime as well.
Glad
where
I
they would
asked.
show
Teach me,
some
Sim.
anime uncut. And
Glad I
uncut
asked.
for anime at that point doesn't mean isn't BET uncut. It's more so blood would be shown if there was blood in the anime.
Got it. This is called Teach Me Senpai. So when I
Look at
have a
that. Learn
question,
something new.
I'm going to ask. I learn something new. I will say this in relation to I understand where you're coming from with the dubbing. So one of my new things is listening to books on tape when I work.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, when you purchase a book, you have no clue who wrote it. Like, so even if the book is about people in England, when I'm reading a book, I'm not reading it in an English accent. But ta-da, my book's on tape. Like, I'm like, a British person wrote this because there is a British actor reading it, and it adds a different spice and flavor. And so I definitely feel where you're coming from.
You know, it would be like going to see Black Panther and everybody just sounds American.
Right. It's not
like it's you hear it because you're like, that just don't feel right. So overall, that's my thing. But how you watch anime is how you watch anime. I do not judge you or feel away. I just would not watch that type of anime with someone. Like if I'm around, this is how we watching it. So, or I'll just watch it later and like go somewhere to let you listen to your dubbed because I cannot.
because you're an elitist. I mean, it's fine. You like what you like. Actually, you're bougie, and that's not what this podcast is about. But this, I will use this in off-air arguments when we talk about levels of bouginess.
No, bro, we not no. No, you already lost. You already lost because I already dismantled the entire argument.
Okay, but
we all have our bougie things. Yes,
we do. So what I'm saying to you is I can use this to further my argument. So I'm so thankful I came on this show today. You have peeled back another layer of yourself and made things great. But back to what we're talking about.
Episode, you
right. Back to what we're talking about. We are smack dab in the middle of episode 6. And like you said, we had some tremendous technical difficulties last time that caused us to say, you know what? How about no? So let me go back through my recap. So the episode opens with Yaika, Kirishima being at Yaika school, and the moms there are like, you're amazing. Look at you showing up for parent teacher conference and like, oh, you do so much for her. And, really hitting on him because he's a nice looking man, very fit, and they're used to just, I feel like, seeing other moms and like, here's this dad. And even though he's not a dad, but here's a man. We need some testosterone around here. So the moms kind of bat around the fact that Yaika's birthday is coming up. They're fishing for invites to this birthday party is what they're doing. They want closer interaction with Kirishima. They want to look into the inside life. They want the interaction. Yeah. And so Kirishima's kind of like, I don't know what's going on. So he picks Yaika up and they go.
Hold on. You know what's funny about that is it reminds me of that post I think I saw on Facebook where somebody was like, I was going to have a play date with this guy, but he was like, he needed to go home and ask his wife, and I was like, that's weird. Don't you raise the kid too? Like that's
Yeah.
immediately what you just said is the reason why you go home and ask
Yep.
and let it be
And
known.
so Yaika's my girl. We in an earlier episode, they had stopped and gotten donuts for just because she loves donuts,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
that's
for
where they
everybody
met
at the
the
house. She always like
yeah.
she loves everybody at the house and will get donuts for everybody.
Um, and that's where they met the homeless girl or whatever. Well, she wasn't homeless. She had ran away from home, that crazy chick. Anyway, so she's walking by the donut shop, and this is how I know she's my girl. She's like, "Oh, Kirashima, they got some new donuts." Like, look, new flavors. He's like, "Do you want to go in?" Before he can really answer her question, though, who pops on the scene? The friend I asked you about last time that I wasn't sure if it was a man or a woman, and you assured me it's a dude, and he's definitely homosexual. So he and that's the reason I didn't know if it was a man or a woman is because he has really long hair. He was wearing
Mm.
heels. He had painted fingernails, but he was looking kind of buff. And I'm like, um, I wasn't sure if he was a woman because you had me watching Carolyn Tuesday, I think it's called. And there's a lady on Carolyn Tuesday who is she's a lady, but her voice she sounds like a dude, like straight up man.
And also I would say that there's probably a lot of just to be verbally correct or pronoun correct, uh could be trans that sometimes they'll be way more clear about that.
Right.
Especially they handle this, or I think this is a trope that I've seen a lot. And I think I might have explained this to you last episode when you
You
first asked
did.
about them. So
You did.
but just not to get redundant, it is one of the tropes that kind of happens. It's kind of how they at times will handle trans type things, which is to either leave you guessing or that this person is a man killer in the sense of like they're don't play with them. Like
Right.
it ain't a game. It's not something that you need to be trying to test their manhood or whatever you think you testing because you're gonna lose.
And so now I get to see like how y'all know each other. And come to find out they grew up together. So that's how they know each other. So they run into him and he's like, "What's up?" Oh, I was gonna ask you. Yaika calls him Ray Chan.
Mm-hmm.
So what does Chan mean? Because I've seen it because I am reading it, because you can't just watch it. I have to read it because I don't speak Japanese. I see it attached to different people's names at different times. And so what is that?
So it is the honorific in terms of like how you're speaking to somebody. So san expresses care and is usually used for boys. Chan is normally used for girls, but it's honorifics. It's Japanese honorifics. And you just kind of know how close to somebody you are most times. Let me
So
see.
since she uses Chan with him, does that mean he identifies as a female?
No, it's much more tender, much more intimate, and a little bit of
Okay.
funny.
Okay.
But no, like san is like just normally used in that way. Kun is also used for boys. Chan is normally for girls. So yeah, so yes, kind of a little bit in what it is, or no, yeah, in terms of how they're addressing each other.
Okay.
Because he always says Yaika Chan, and she responds and kind of probably because of the same things that you think. It's just like
Right.
I'm pretty
She's like,
sure,
okay, yeah, this is the lady. Okay.
So yeah.
So, anyway, they're hooked. So he pretty much invites himself to the donut shop with Yaika and Kirishima. So they sit down and eating donuts, and he kind of peels the curtain back a little bit more on Kirishima's past, and he's like, telling Yaika, Yaika is all about learning everything she can about Kirishima. And
Mm-hmm.
so he tells Yaika, like, "Hey, dude was a big jerk when we were growing up. And we used to hang out with this other jerk." And he's like, "You remember the other jerk?"
Yeah.
And Kirishima's like, oh man, get out of here. Like we
Oh,
over there.
and let me clarify one more time. So it's typically used with women, but can be used for boys also because it is like I was saying, to express a level of closeness. So I want to make
Okay,
sure I wasn't like it's not like the A and the O in Spanish.
got it.
Okay, good.
Um, what was I saying? So yeah. So Yaika's getting a little bit more information about Kirishima. She's hearing about Kirishima when he grew up, and so she's thankful for that. She's appreciative, and she's like, "Yeah, glad to learn more about him." And Kirishima's like, "Okay, let's get out of here. We didn't have enough donuts." So Yaika goes through her order of everything, all the donuts she wants to take to the people at home, and I think she told Kirishima she's getting him a strawberry donut, like, and you can get a strawberry one, which I thought
I
was
think she
funny.
told him a chocolate chip because I think the
Okay.
strawberry one is for Sugihara, I believe.
Yes, Sugihara.
Like
Hilarious
strawberry one's for him, but she remembers that he likes chocolate, so she gonna give him chocolate everything.
every time. Yeah. So fast forward, we get back to the house, and Yaika's aunt is kind of trying to dig and figure out. Well, she's asking Kirishima, like, what are you gonna get Yaika for her birthday? And she's like asking him, like, so what did you do on your birthdays growing up? And he's like, oh, well, pretty much they really didn't have much. And he remembers his mama making him, like, later on in the episode, I think
Would you like for me to explain to you what it is?
I figured out what it was like when he was making it for her, but at the time I was like looking at it like, this don't look like a happy birthday to me. But yeah, go ahead and explain it to me because that was gonna be one of my questions.
So what she made for him is amu rice, which is an omelet that is cooked very softly. And you have to fold it very gently because the goal is you sit it over rice, and so they'll sit it kind of like fold it, and when you cut it right in the center, it folds out over the rice in a perfect dome covering the rice. It's not something that's just like a breakfast item. They eat this whenever. Everywhere else in the world, we're the only people that be like specifically trying to treat eggs, bacon, and toast and everything else like they're the only breakfast things that we can eat. And typically they'll put ketchup over it. And sometimes you'll spell out, I love
He
you
spelled out
or
happy
happy
birthday
birthday
on
or
top.
or things of that nature. But yeah.
See, that's what really threw me off. I was like, this looks very unfamiliar to me. And she done put some ketchup on top of this to spell out happy birthday. Like, what is this? But you did a wonderful job describing it. Because later on in the episode, we see Kirishima basically comes to the point where he's like, you know what? I want to give Yaika a personal gift. Like, it's not about like big money. I want to do something for her that's meaningful. So he talks to Yaika's aunt and he's like, hey, can you teach me how to cook this? Like, I want to cook this for Yaika. And I thought that was like super sweet. I'm a super sentimental person, so I love personal gifts. I love it when people think outside the box beyond like how much money can I spend, but like what is something personal and intimate and special that I can do for you? Now, don't get me wrong, I love flowers. I like nice things, but the things that bring me the most joy on my birthday or any occasion really are the thoughtful gifts, the gifts that have meaning, the gifts that years from now you look back and laugh. I'm gonna share this, and this is just because I'm talking about gifts. The last gift Tamika ever got me was my Christmas gift. Well, she got me several gifts for Christmas, and they weren't like expensive things, just random stuff. But she got me a Bath and Body Works candle because she was at my house one day. I don't know what she was doing. Anyway, she knocked my candle off of my TV stand or whatever, and she broke the candle. I wasn't tripping. I knew it was an accident, but I thought that
as you said, I could see her face right now just going,
yeah.
That
I
thing where
don't even
she would
know.
like look left and right. Eventually,
Right.
y'all will be able to see all this because I'm gonna work out the YouTube stuff. Trust, but until then, just know I looked left and looked right and had a very like
Very
I'm not
surprised.
gonna move thing.
Yeah. And so, I don't know. I mean, now let's be clear, Bath and Body Works candles do be expensive. But anyway, but like, so I'm not gonna say the gift was cheap because it wasn't cheap, but it had a lot of meaning to me because it was something I had forgot about. Like I wasn't tripping on it. And she
Yeah.
was like, see, look, I done replaced your
uh,
because we
the
had said we weren't gonna give each other gifts. So I love that he's thinking about making an experience and a
yeah.
moment with her.
But and see, that's another cultural thing that they do. So homemade stuff means like I took some time, I really care. I want you to kind of feel these things. On Valentine's Day, if the girl who brings you chocolate makes homemade chocolate and not like store-bought chocolate, she really thinks highly of you. On White Day, if you do the same, she really thinks highly of you. If you are dating somebody and they make you a homemade bento, which is a homemade lunchbox, little small compartments or whatever, they really care about you.
Okay, rewind. What is White Day?
White Day is the day after, or I think it might be the day after Valentine's Day or a little bit after Valentine's Day, where if a girl gives you chocolate, that is your day as a male to return the chocolate, to like give chocolate back. So it's kind of like this is us returning, like the male kind of oriented to females Valentine's Day.
Do you celebrate this occasion with your wife?
No,
Oh, okay.
we just give each
Uh,
other things that I mean, like I don't know what you're doing here. You're making it.
just asking questions. I love a good question. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's get back to this episode. So the thing that's crazy about this episode is so while Kirishima's like at home working on his cooking skills,
I know exactly where you're going.
Yaika like wants to go out to the playground, but he's like, no, I got some stuff to do. He don't want to tell her what he's doing. Like it's a
Yeah.
surprise. Like your aunt is helping me learn how to cook this meal for you. So Yaika wants to go out, and so she has to go out with is it Saguhari?
Sugihara.
Sugihara. See, I was close. I said
You said it.
Saguhari.
You and see the way you're talking now is the way people will pronounce names in dubbed, and I just can't
Right.
deal. I'm like, that ain't how you say that. That ain't even close.
Okay, so him and the bald headed dude that was part of the fake singing group. Wasn't it the
I don't
bald
know.
head?
Gold didn't go with them.
No, didn't go with them.
It was the other guy that does talk. I can't think of his name, and I don't know if they said his name yet.
So anyway, they take her to the playground. They're like, girl, you can go play, even though Kirishima busy. Yay, we get to go with you. We get to take you to the playground. It's gonna be so much fun. Woo hoo hoo. She's like, because that's not really what she wanted, but she's like, okay, I'll go play. Y'all. Okay, so they at the playground, they throwing the rope for her. So she
No,
out
no,
there
no,
with
no,
two.
no. They tied the rope up, and they're about to throw rope.
They're about to throw the rope for her because they like, okay, two grown dudes, a little girl at the playground. We're gonna have to figure out a way to make this fun for you. Y'all, this next part is what made me be like, you know what? I think my patience is like wearing thin, like with my age, because I love kids. Kids are my thing. But on the scene burst Sarah. She's a foreigner and she's a loud little girl. When I say she loud, she saw Yaika. She's like, oh, friend, it's a friend, playground. When I say she is 30, she is all kinds of like on a scale of 1 to 10 loudness, she's a 30. She is excitement. She is a ball of energy. I think it takes Yaika back a little bit at first because she's like, whoa, sis, like you coming in hot. But they end up having the best time at the playground, really enjoying each other's company. I haven't really seen her hang with any other kids before. So,
She hasn't and hasn't really been able to outside of when she's at school
right.
because of who they are and how like I don't know what purpose you are here for.
Right.
You know,
So,
because not everybody that's in the Yakuza has the same kind of ethics. And there's a lot that we'll talk about in episode 7 about
oh yes,
that, and
honey, about
I'll explain
ethics.
all that.
Um, yeah. Okay. So they're having the best time at the end of the play session or whatever. Sarah's dad comes and, they're like, we'll have to get together again. We'll have to get y'all together again sometime. Glad you had fun, blah, blah, blah. They get home. What do you know? Who pop up? Sarah and her daddy, because they live right next door. Like this whole time, they've been living right next door to each other. So Sarah's like, "Oh my gosh, can I come over right now?" When I say she loud and annoying, if my voice was getting on your nerves, just imagine the high pitched squeal that this little girl was having. Like she's super crunk. So uh I think Yaika's dad ends up coming out and it's like, well, we can have a play date at some point. Dad's super serious with his traditional garb on. And like I said, Sarah and her dad are foreigners. They are not Japanese. Do you know where they're from? I couldn't quite place like
Well, I'll get to that in a second. Well, I guess I can go ahead. So clear, they are from America. That it's clear as all the day because of the English that they speak and the way that they speak it. So the way that they speak English is the way again that I hear dubbed, because you can clearly
okay.
tell that they're using these voices. Which how they portray English or American characters, they're always going to portray us majority of the time as very aggressive. You know,
Very loud and annoying.
loud and like, well, it's more of a, because they are more more societally, people are like Yaika. It was just
Yeah.
quiet. You
Reserved.
respect, you have conversation in a very different way. I did a paper on it some years ago about like conversational standards and how that goes on. Their conversation is more like bowling, and bowling with respect for your elders. Like you wait your turn, you listen to what it said, you're responding to what it said. We talk more like tennis, and it's just like, here's a point, here's a point, here's a point, here's a point, and we're just trying to go back and forth. Not really, that's why sometimes it can be hard to get everything together. But whether it's relationships, everything else, they are very like reserved in terms of how they're able to interact with one another. So societally, there's a whole lot of differences, which eventually I'll break down for you and probably break down on this podcast.
So you can definitely tell the differences in society, and Americans do not come off well. Like you said, they're very pushy, very, very pushy. So the dad gives the okay. Okay, let's go back a little bit.
Okay.
So throughout the episode, I kept looking at Yaika and Sarah's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering, is it because they're kids that their eyes are so large? Like the drawing of them, their eyes are so large, and their eyes have multiple colors, whereas the adults, their eyes are not as vivid, not as, but Sarah and Yaika have like just beautiful eyes, and like it'll be like 5 different shades of blue or like it's
Yeah.
not just one color. So is that something that carries throughout the anime culture,
Uh,
or is it something that's just specific to this show?
it's varying depending upon the art style and how they want to present people. So that is a standard, but it can also, it just depends on the artist. Everything depends on the artist, and everything depends on like what kind of style they're going for. There's a lot of styles that are like I'm looking at as my the backgrounds on my desktop are changing. I'm looking at all the different like styles and different animes that come up. So it's not something that's particular to this. That's just particular specifically to this anime, but it just kind of depends on like what you're going for. And a lot of the cuter ones and things of that nature, this is kind of how they will want to show different characters. But there are a lot where people all have kind of the same kind of eyes, or they go for a little bit more expressive, or there's just different ways. But this, I think, is just
Mhm.
specifically to how they want to show kids in that anime.
Okay, so are there anime artists like can you tell that so and so is working on this anime?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You can.
Yes.
So you know by their style like this looks like something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean, there are certain people. Akira Toriyama is one of them. He did Dragon Ball Z. So if you've ever seen anything from that ever, which I'm sure you have because of me and or our cousins because of the games they play, uh, that is a distinct style that he made.
Okay.
That he has. One of my favorite artists is Tite Kubo, who does Bleach, and that's one of my favorite animes of all time, which just got its final arc of the anime after 10 years, because the manga has been over for about 6 or 7 years, maybe 8. And so I love his art. It's just, it speaks to me, is so great. But Akira Toriyama is one of the most iconic art styles that places itself in a lot of different places, as well as the art for the game series Final Fantasy. All the Final Fantasies have just amazing art in terms of how they present things. But yeah, there are just so many distinct styles that you see when you see it, you know it. Especially
Right.
if you figure out who the creator of that is. Carol and Tuesday was done by the same people who did Cowboy Bebop. And so if you look at those two properties, you'll see the similarities and you'll just kind of know, oh, this is this person. This is how they want to express movement or whatever the case may be.
Okay. Okay, so back to these loud pushy Americans. Basically, they get an invitation to Yaika's birthday party. They show up. Sarah runs all over the house like she has no home training because she don't. Her dad also is aggressive and pushy, like, dude, we're gonna be best friends, bro. We're neighbors. Oh, you have a cherry tree. Oh, it matches with your name. Like he's very excited and excitable, just like his daughter,
Mm-hmm.
like father. They sing happy birthday to Yaika, blah, 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 to get the Americans out the house. And
Mm-hmm.
Kirishima's finally able to present Yaika with the gift. And of course, she's touched. One thing I skipped over is that he cut himself while he was working, and he
I
kind of
thought that's where you was going earlier because that was the funniest thing in the
oh no, that was
world.
disgusting to me.
Uh,
It
so
was gross.
hilarious to me.
It was gross.
Just because of his whole, like, I mean, she told me to do this. Like, I mean, and his just general, and she immediately, Yaika's noticed how much she notices about Kirishima, like any change in his behavior, demeanor, anything. She notices all of it. And
Right.
she immediately noticed, like, what happened in your hands? He's like, nothing.
Yeah,
And
like
like had to,
nothing, no big deal.
and so, but that was the funniest
Meanwhile,
part.
right. Meanwhile, he's injured himself cooking for her. But I thought it was so sweet. She was so, oh my gosh, she was thrilled. She was thrilled with her party. She's thrilled with her friendship. And she's really thrilled with her relationship with Kirishima. And I think that's really sweet. I love it. I love that he has such a tender spot in his heart for her. And I love that she has such a tender spot in her heart for him.
Yeah.
And I didn't talk about this earlier, but they kind of flash back to some of her past birthdays. And it would just be her and her aunt, which is so sad. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and this birthday was such a difference, surrounded by so many people that love her and want to spend time with her. So I was happy for her. Then the episode ends with dude, they had met up with Ray.
Messiah.
Yeah, they had met up with Ray Chan earlier.
Masaya.
Masaya. Uh, they had met up with Ray Chan earlier, and he was asking, "Hey, you remember that dude we used to kick it with in school?" Well,
Mm-hmm.
this is the dude all grown up, and we see him like getting released from prison and declaring that he is going to murder Kirashima, and that's how it ends. It was a great episode.
Yeah, I get to explain more of that in the next episode because they actually go into some really cool things that are tropes and stuff that only makes sense in anime. I mean, it makes sense Americanized in a certain way, but like there's just anime stuff that's all throughout this next episode. So hopefully you have a whole lot of questions about that. So overall, what did you think of this episode?
I just said it. I thought it was great. I
Oh,
thought it
my
was
bad.
a great, refreshing take. Overall, I'm very pleased with it. Like I said, I like the fact that she's gone from being alone to being surrounded by people that she
Yeah,
loves. And I think that is one of the things that makes this probably one of my favorite episodes, just because I'm sentimental and I love the sentimental elements that are
yeah,
sprinkled throughout. And I love that her community is growing.
yeah.
And I'm all about community growth.
Oh, of course. Do you have any other questions that you weren't able to get out or that you thought of in this recap?
Nah, I
Mhm.
asked them as they came, bro.
Okay. Well, then I think we've had an amazing episode. Uh, I appreciate you guys for listening in. If you'd like to see more, go to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Icarus Gray, where I do a little bit more deep dives on other animes. Um, Things that you should watch. I have a whole genre series on there where I explain as many of the genres that I think are pertinent currently to anime to for new people, and give you some suggestions on things you should watch in each of those categories. So if you'd like a little bit more, make sure you go and do that. Follow me on all the socials, which are linked down in the description. And we'll see you in the next one. A one and a two and a peace.